One. And you already know who it is. It's myself, King Jones. Welcome to another edition of the Football Pull Up. Come on, let's make some noise, guys. We're here with Uncle Steve, the Liverpool man. How you doing?
Peace, man. Peace. I'm good, man. I'm good.
So we haven't done an episode of this for a while. As you guys probably know, you've probably seen us on TikTok. We're on YouTube. Make sure you follow us there. Non-stop content. We got a lot of clips coming out. A lot of stuff we said at the start of the season is coming true. We spoke about Onana. We spoke about Curtis Jones. We spoke about all the things that were happening. Arsenal's transfers. We spoke about Liverpool transfers. All before any of it came to fruition. We saw about Super. Is it Super Slough? Super Slough? Is that how you said?
Yeah, Slobberslide.
That was like, yeah, we spoke about how we thought it was going to be good before he played because we predict here. But how you been so far? How you enjoying the season?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the season a lot. It's been unpredictable. I think nobody could call the table as is standing now. At the beginning of the season, definitely not Liverpool fans. So we're not complaining. We probably are well ahead of ourselves. And yeah, really surprised with Villa how well they're doing.
Yeah,
Um, Even to a degree surprised with how well West Ham are doing. I thought they may have
yeah.
peaked last year and maybe it's just been a sort of a mid-table team. But no, it's been a really good season, very open. And of course, City dropping as many points as it has done has made it definitely more open.
Did you predict that Man City will fall off? You know, obviously they got rid of some big players last season. They got rid of Mahrez, Gundogan, they got
Uh,
rid of Laporte. Did you think like they would fall to this level? Or did you thought like the players that they brought in, Gravado, Kovacic, what's they bringing? Doku, did you think those players would be sufficient enough and they should actually be doing better?
and in my opinion, they didn't improve the squad with those players because Gundogan and Mahrez, I think,
Mm-hmm.
were brilliant players. I think Gundogan's been underrated anyway. The players they brought in are good players, very good players, and may reach that potential and may reach that level, but not at the moment. But losing Gundogan, Mahrez, and to a degree losing De Bruyne for 4 or 5 months has had a huge, massive effect on him. That's you're more or less talking about the midfield in De Bruyne and Gundogan and Mahrez on left or on the right hand side,
Mm-hmm.
gone from the start of the season. So it's going to take a massive effect because Doku he started well, sort of faded a bit, but he's still doing well. And Kovacic is a warhorse. He's not really a creator like Gundogan or De Bruyne. So they were gonna suffer. They were definitely gonna suffer. So when the season started and De Bruyne got injured, yeah, I'm not shocked. Surprised maybe that they are where they are, but yeah, I wasn't expecting them to run away with the title this season. Now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, obviously we're going to talk about a little bit about Liverpool. Obviously, a lot of people predicted Liverpool would be fighting for top four. I think
Mm.
hardly anyone didn't predict that they'd be at the top right now. They're obviously at the top of the table. Do you think that you expect Liverpool just to go on and win it, or do you think there'll be more surprises and then Liverpool will have to fight?
I don't expect us to go on to win it, but then I didn't expect us to be here, so I can't call it. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect us to win it. I expect City to get strong as they do in the
Mm-hmm.
second half of the season and predict that they'll probably go on a 10, 12 game winning streak. Um, so I don't think we will. I don't think we're strong enough in the sense that the team hasn't gelled well enough together. This is the first season with four players going straight in, and I think a lot of people have overlooked the fact that we're missing one of a few world class players in Robertson for the past 3 months, and he's huge. We talk about Liverpool going forward in attack. He's probably second to Trent in creating our assists, and that's gone under the radar. But I think that's a huge miss. I'm glad he's coming back this month, but I don't see us winning it. I still think it'll be City, and then Arsenal and Liverpool probably pushing them as best as we can, and trying to obviously secure the top four places. But it's good to know that this in January
Yeah.
we're not talking about top four, we're talking about a title. So I think another couple of months if we can be fairly consistent, we'll secure top four. And you never know, you never know.
So yeah, since we're talking about Liverpool, I want to talk about a bit about January. Watching where Liverpool are at the moment, watching what the players they have and the players that are missing. What do you do? Do Liverpool firstly need any players in January? And if they do, what positions would you be looking at?
We need a centre back,
Mm-hmm.
preferably a left-sided centre back, but a centre back who's flexible to play across the back four. But predominantly his number one position is the centre back. I think we definitely need one, even if we're not going to push for the title. To still push for top four because we haven't got that secured. And like I said, you've got teams like Villa, Spurs are improving. We want to secure top four. And also for the future, we need a centre back. The prices in the summer are probably going to rocket. So if you've got a chance, if there's any deals to be made, Inacio has been spoken about. If there's any deals to be made for centre back, I'd love to see it done now. I mean, Spurs have just bought a centre back for 26 million, and apparently he's the Romanian Van Dijk.
Yeah,
we'll see. We haven't, I've not seen a lot of him, but I'd like us to get a centre back this January.
but you guys
Nothing
missed out
else
on.
really.
Yeah,
None of the position screams out to me. But definitely a centre back.
you guys missed out on Eric Dyer. You let him go to Bayern. To this day, that is the most baffling signing I've seen so far. Eric Dyer to Bayern Munich is crazy. I think, did Harry Kane, did he bribe them?
Yeah.
Did he tell them like I'm not playing again until my mate gets over here?
Yeah, he probably said he's a bit homesick. I need one of my men here, and they got to. And Dyer was, I mean, how much? Cheap? How much? $500,000. And they said, you can stay in one of the ex-players' houses, and
When he got the call from Bayern Munich, he must have been confused. He must have thought it was an accidental call. Yeah, like they called Van.
Harry tipped him up. Harry said to him, "Look, mate, you want to come? I've told the manager I'm homesick. I need some English blood here. You know what I mean? Get your ass over here." And
he probably lied to the manager and said, I'm telling you, he's quick. And he told Eric Dyer, listen, you need to go practice running because I told him you're fast, isn't it?
Tuchel knows about it. I think that's purely a Harry Kane comforter.
Yeah.
To someone to, sometimes if you go to a foreign country, they do buy a second player to help.
Yeah, they buy your brother. You remember with Chelsea, when Eden came, they bought his brother Fogan, you know what I mean? And Real Madrid are looking at Joe Bellingham as well, because obviously they bought it out here. Normally they do.
So I think it was a case of we need another, and he said, well, Dyer's his mate, get him over here cheap. And I'll start performing again, because he said the hand is so high, Kane, but maybe the last month or two, the goals have dried up a little bit. So he's probably said to them, look, if you want more goals, I need a mate. To get Dyer back over here and I'll start scoring again.
Exactly. So, yes, just talk a bit more about Liverpool. What's really going through a lot of the channels now is Darwin Núñez. It seems like every game he plays, it's like the big highlight is what did Darwin Núñez do? So just to ask you, as a Liverpool fan, there's two sorts of perspectives I see. I see some people say, he's a dodo, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's a clown, he misses too many chances. And then I see the other people saying, you know what, he's an amazing player, he just can't finish enough chances. And once he starts finishing, he'll be the best player on the planet. Where do you kind of fall on the Darwin Núñez talk?
I mean, he'll never be the best player on the planet. But even if he sorts out his finishing and he improves his finishing, his touch, his ball retention isn't great. However, though, when he's running at opposition and defenders, he does cause defenders to panic. He does create chaos in the defense. He creates openings for other players. So on that side of the defense, yeah, fine. I think as well, his best position, Klopp has played him quite a bit out of position in the centre. On the left is his best position. I think if he has a consistent run on the left, he'll improve. His finishing will improve. I don't expect him, after seeing him for a season and a half now, I don't expect to see him 30 goals, 35 goals. Yeah. I might be wrong, but I do see his goal ratio definitely improving. But overall, he does enough for me to keep him in the team because of the outside work he does. For example, the assist for Gakpo's goal the other night, he's unselfish in his running. He'll run at defenders, and he just cause defenders to panic and create, and his physical presence, and he works really hard. That's another thing as well. There's a similarity, not in the sense of their build or look, but a slight similarity in the sense of an Emil Heskey. He was never, Emil hardly got into double figures for Liverpool. He hardly got into double figures in the season. But he was there to just occupy defenders, give them a headache, make life hard for them. And he'll chip him with a good few goals and work his socks off. And Liverpool fans love Heskey for that. Yeah, we know he's not going to get 20 goals a season, but he'd get maybe, I think the best he's got is like 14 or 13. But all the outside work Heskey did, we appreciate it. Yeah. What Núñez is doing now, the outside work, we appreciate, which is why at the stadiums you hear them singing his name. So as long as he keeps going and the finishing, that's got to come, whether it's more training in front of goal, one-on-ones, and obviously confidence, which I'm sure Klopp is doing his best to give him the confidence. So I'm on the fence of where play him on the left, give him a good run on the left, and get him more confidence, and I think it'll come good. But I don't expect to see dozens and dozens of goals from him now.
Okay. So looking at a lot of the players that Liverpool are linked with in the summer, for example, Lavia, Caicedo. Watching Caicedo now, obviously Lavia hasn't really played. Do you look back and think, maybe it was good that we didn't spend 100+ million because he hasn't hit the ground running? Or do you feel like he'd be a different player at Liverpool?
A bit of both. He would be a different player at Liverpool. If he was playing at Liverpool, he'll play in his natural position. McAllister would play in his natural position. Szoboszlai wouldn't probably be overworked, and he'll probably be a better midfield. That trio would be a better midfield than it currently is now. So yes. But on the other hand, not having him in, would he have suffered with the pressure of the money move? Maybe that's what's happening at Chelsea. I don't know. He's very young. I think people underrate how young he is. He's 21. He's just turned 22, and that's a massive price tag. And we saw Enzo Fernandez come over in his first season at Chelsea. Didn't do. It's only now he's starting to show signs, Fernandez, but it's not consistent. But he's showing signs. But again, a young player, 21, 22, 100 million, and you're not a striker. You're judged then on outstanding performances. A striker can come in for 100 million. He can do nothing for 89 minutes, score a winning goal. A midfielder, though, has to work his socks off through the 90 minutes. A midfielder can't go and hide. A striker can easily have a bad game, scores a winning goal. He's a hero. So for that money, you've really got to be consistent and work hard. And Caicedo doesn't seem to be showing all those signs of a 100 million player. It's not his fault about the transfer tag, but it is what it is. So yeah, at the moment, it's a good decision that we didn't buy him. But I'm confident that if we had got him, he'd be playing differently in a different, more confident Liverpool team than he is playing at Chelsea. At Chelsea, they don't even know their best 11, but he would have slotted right in.
No, they don't.
But Caicedo would have slotted straight in, McAllister and Szoboszlai, and then obviously be rotation with Jones and then Gravenberch. So yeah, but yeah, glad we didn't spend that money because we've got that money left over. So we've got money to spend, but they've obviously got their eyes on somebody who they're waiting for.
Well, recently Tottenham have signed Timo Werner, and he's gone from RB Leipzig after I think he was okay last season, struggled this season, only 2 goals, to Tottenham on loan. Do you see that as a successful signing for Tottenham, or do you feel like that's just a desperate signing?
It looks like it's definitely a desperate signing. I mean, none of the top clubs in Europe would look at Timo, and if he come up for availability for loan, no one's going to touch him. But Tottenham are desperate. Their out-and-out striker is Richarlison, who's not had a great season, but recently he's been scoring recently. But again, I think obviously the manager doesn't have the confidence that he's going to go on a run. Son is going to be away until early mid-February. It's a desperate, so they need somebody because they're not too far behind in 5th place, so they've got their eyes on the top 4. So they needed anyone, and Werner was available. He's got Premiership experience, and I'm guessing the Tottenham manager's thinking I can get out of him what the other managers have failed to do. So we'll see, but it looks like a desperate loan signing. But you never know; he might come good. But I don't see anything different here than playing at Chelsea.
When I was actually speaking to a United fan and we were talking about Ten Hag and his season, and he's struggling, and I kind of came up with a consensus, and I want to know what you think about this. Is he has done when you look at the overall job he's done in terms of transfers, he's been given too much power. There should have been a director in to tell him Anthony's not worth that money, etc. But they're in the way in this season, though he's made a lot of mistakes, tons of mistakes. He has been very unfortunate with injuries. I don't know most teams that would have 3 left backs injured at once. I don't know most teams that will have their whole back line injured. Do you know what I mean? Like it's rare. Casemiro was injured, Mason Mount's still injured. He's had a lot of injuries where he struggled, and he may not have struggled as much if players were back. Do you feel that sort of way about Ten Hag, or do you think like no, he's doing as well as regardless of any injuries he's doing?
No, injuries have played a part, without a shadow of a doubt. They've played a part.
Mm-hmm.
But the players who have been playing consistently, you can't account for the form of Rashford.
Yeah,
he's been awful, and Anthony's been awful.
Awful.
They're not scoring goals, and none of their front line, with the exception of maybe Mount in the attacking midfield, their front line are all there. They're all fit. They're all there. Højlund, Rashford, Anthony. Sancho, but they had a fallout. So in the goal front, they're all there. Then there's no injuries. They're not scoring. Fernandes is playing. They're not scoring goals. I think one goal in it's been an X amount of games they've not scored a goal. If anything, whilst defensively they've been, struggles with defensively, their defensive record is actually not that bad. Their scoring rate is atrocious. So there's something in the attack in the last third going forward where they're lacking. I think it's gone 3 league games haven't scored or 4 league games haven't scored. And those players I mentioned are all off form big time. The Rashford and Højlund. Højlund's got 1 Premiership goal. But even though he's only got the 1 Premiership goal, he doesn't seem to assist anybody.
Yeah.
Anthony's not scoring, not assisting. Rashford, I've just mentioned about him. Fernandes, a little bit. You're talking about McTominay, is he your top scorer? Is he Man United's top scorer or assist?
I think he's their top goal scorer.
Yeah, and you're thinking, okay, well, something's not right going forward. The injuries you mentioned are predominantly midfield and defence. But what's wrong with the attack? They're all there. The majority of the players are there. The front 9 or the front 6 or 5 players he's got to choose from are all fit. Mm-hmm. They're not, something's not right there in the front. But injuries has affected them without a shadow of a doubt. But to go that amount of time, their goal scoring return is really, really bad.
Yeah, so before we talk about what I think they would improve, the problem that I see with Ten Hag, and I don't think I have full sorry for him for injuries, but the mistake that he's made is when I feel like clubs hire managers, you get hired for different reasons. I think that no matter what Ten Hag says or anyone else says, a massive chunk of the reason why he got that Man United job is because when he was at Ajax, they played some of the best football in Europe. Now, if he wants to pretend that football has nothing to do with why he got signed, why he got brought in, that's up to him. But in my opinion, I think football was important. So when he came out with that statement this season saying, I don't have players like that, I'm not going to play that way, that was one nail that you put in the coffin. You know what I'm saying? Then he kept saying, I need Onana, I need Anthony, I need all these players. And a lot of the players that he wanted have not come through. That was another nail. You know, Mason Mount and all these players for big money, Højlund, that are not performing. And I think one of the biggest things that he has with him is that what I thought, and I was wrong, but I thought he was a manager that comes in, had lots of young players in the team, and he's like, yeah, I can motivate these young players, I can improve players, because that's what I saw at Ajax. He brought through these young players, De Jong, De Jong, De Ligt, Gravenberch was there, all these young players that were there, Gakpo, and he made them better. I thought he was going to come to United and Garnacho would thrive, Rashford would thrive, Martial, all these players would thrive, and they have not thrived. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, the young players have not thrived. So
you can remember the Dutch league. It's not. I wouldn't say it's the top 5 in Europe.
No.
If you know, Italian, Spanish, German, Premier League,
and French,
French and Portugal. So when the manager comes from Holland, because he's done well at Ajax or PSV, I always take it with a pinch of salt, even the players as well. So Gakpo, I was hoping he'd be good, but you're thinking, yeah, he can smash at PSV, but really, or Ajax, will he really do the same? Because it's a different beast in the Premier League. And the same with Ten Hag. And we said at the podcast, I think in August, about Onana, and he went to get Onana. And we said, I remember specifically saying, he's going to be making mistakes. It's different. I think we all agreed he's going to be making mistakes. It's a different beast, the Premier League. And yes, he's great he's good with his feet. But in the Premier League, you get closed down far more often than you do in Europe when you got on the ball. They pump crosses in left, right, and centre in the Premier League. And we've seen the mistakes he's made. And what happens is you make 1 or 2 mistakes, confidence then drops, and then you're making more mistakes because your confidence has dropped, as well as adjusting to the league. So he struggled as we all predicted. Well, I think me and you did. Banj wasn't. Banj was.
Also, I believe that at Inter Milan, when he had that record for Champions League, I'm not saying he didn't play well. He obviously did. That defense, people forget, they underestimate that Inter Milan defense was so good. Those players were so in tune. They were so at the top of their game that for most goalkeepers, the work you'd have to do in defenses like that is way less. You come into the United team, and at best, the United team's defense was, you know what I'm saying, with everybody fit, it was still shaky. You're going to face more shots. He's never faced these shots before, these amount of shots in years. He's never had to take an onslaught. He's never had to, this time is really testing his goalkeeper skills. So you brought in a goal. Man United needed a keeper where, yes, they could play with their feet. I'm not saying to an extent, but they will always need, until they get a proper defense, they will always need a goalkeeper who's excellent with their hands. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the issue.
Who's their second game of the season or second or third game of the season?
Yes.
He wiped out Was it
Oh,
Bournemouth?
Wolves. Wasn't that our first game? Was
Wolves,
that-
yeah, Wolves. First,
Yeah.
first second game. What the way he came out and wiped those players out, you actually thought. Mm, I remember watching it again in slow motion on top of match. I thought, what's he doing? And you're thinking he hasn't got a clue. And I
Mhm.
remember thinking he's going to struggle. I thought after that game, I thought before that game he'd struggle, and that confirmed to me he struggled. He was nowhere near the ball. He misjudged the flight totally, just like
Yeah.
totally, and took out the players. And you thought he's going to struggle, and it's proved that way. He may improve because there's very little room to get any worse. But I think he'll improve a bit, but he's not the long term answer for United in goal.
I
He's
don't think.
definitely not the long term answer. He might have another season, or he'll stay there during the Ten Hag reign. If another manager comes in, I can see them looking to offload him.
So when you so obviously you support Liverpool and you watched the Arsenal game against the FA Cup where we lost 2-0. When you watched that game, alongside the news that obviously Arsenal need a striker. So I'm asking you two questions. One, watching that game, could you really see that Arsenal need a striker? And two, the links that we've had with Curtis Jones, could you see the Arsenal team and could you see why it makes sense? Why Arteta would want him? Or do you think it's Arteta just trying to be too clever, too cheap with the money, and and trying to just do bit part signings?
I think you definitely need a striker. Basically on the back of even coming off the back of last season, you look at that front three and you think none of them have reached 20 goals in a season for Arsenal, Jesus, Martinelli, and Saka in the Premier League goals.
Yeah.
They've not really been close to like 18 or 19. They've all had maybe 14 and 13, 14.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, who's gonna lead the charge in terms of getting the goals, at least getting 18, 19 goals that will carry us to the Premier League? You don't see it. And Jesus obviously has injury problems. So in the summer, went back and looked at the stats, defensively, you went bad. Going forward was okay, but it was that area where you need it. So I was surprised you didn't buy a striker in the summer.
Mhm.
But Arteta obviously thought otherwise. Now it's clearly shown that you definitely need a striker. So yes, I do think you need a striker. Who is hard because I don't know who's out there, who's available and who's out there. So it's going to be hard now in this January window to get somebody in. I know you've been linked with somebody from Getafe, but I don't think you should panic buy either because that's not necessarily going to make it work. That's going to make it better. I don't think you should panic buy for a striker. If you can't get the play you want, ride it out to the end of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you definitely need a striker. With the Curtis Jones, I kind of see it because again, watching the last couple of games, especially Fulham game in the midfield, Rice as a holding is fine. He's been very good this season for the large part. He's had a few games that's not great, but overall he's been really good. It was a mystery, Havertz. Why is a mystery?
Go
I
ahead,
saw the
listen to
midfield
everyone.
is honestly, even if Rice, Odegaard, and another midfielder, even Partey, I don't know if that would be a great balance because that's very defensive and Odegaard's a lot of pressure on Odegaard to provide and to back up the support, whereas Partey and Rice are not known to score a lot of goals and be creative. But Havertz definitely wasn't the midfielder I would have thought to fill that third position. I just didn't get that. So Curtis Jones, yes, because he's a box to box. He can create, he can get a few goals, but he can sit back and defend and work his socks off as he's shown in the under 21 tournament recently, and he's done that for Liverpool. And this run of games he's been probably our best midfield in the last month. So I can see why, because Arsenal don't have a midfielder like him. Havertz going forward, yes, he's not bad, but he hasn't shown a lot going forward. And obviously defensively in the midfield, no, he's exposed. Odegaard, we know defensively is not his strongest point either. So it's Rice, whereas Jones can do both. He's a box to box midfielder. He can defend, he can chip in with the goal, he can create chances. So I could see why Arsenal, because I think if he went in alongside Odegaard and Rice, yeah, that does look a lot better balanced than having Havertz.
Why do you think Curtis Jones can't get into your first team?
He can now.
Okay.
For before, it was consistency.
Yeah.
He would play 3 games, he'd have one good half, and the other 2 games or the other 2.5 games, he's okay. We expect more, and you've seen glimpses of it, enough of it in the last two, especially in the last 2 years. He's been plagued with injuries, so he's been in and out, always injured. This is his longest one. He's not been injured. Or if he's been injured, it's been a very quick, short injury. and his confidence is great. I think there's no expectation. The expectations aren't as high as they were 2 years ago. I think coming off the back of scoring that goal against Everton in about 3 years ago in the FA Cup, and Gerrard singing his praises so much, there was a lot of expectations that he was going to come. He's going to be the next big thing. That never happened. Coming into this season with all the midfielders we bought, you actually thought, you know what, if someone comes in with an offer in the summer for him, we could actually be open to taking offers because we bought in 4 midfielders. And you think, well, he's never really proved himself consistently for Liverpool. But perhaps that weight of expectancy, he's come in the last month. Oh my gosh, he's been probably our best midfielder, and he's been consistent. But let's not get carried away. I want to see a good, second half of the season. I want to see him continue this, and then we can take a view at the end of the season. But it's good to see him doing really well. Gives us competition in the midfield, and I can clearly see why Arteta would want him.
Mm-hmm. What's going on, Podfather?
Good to be here, man. Good to be here. What have I missed?
Now,
sound like some people were dropping knowledge about footy
Yeah,
before I joined in.
We were talking about
Curtis.
We were talking about Curtis Jones and why Arsenal would want him, how he'd fit in. We were speaking about Liverpool right now. How they're top of the table, what their expectations are for the rest of the season. We're going to talk about that. So now that you're here, I actually want to go through some of the teams in the league, and I just want to ask you both each, like, if you could improve one player or get them in one position for this January, who would you get them? I mean, what position would you improve them in? And if you can think of a player off the top of your head, which player should they realistically go for? Not Benzema from a realistically. So let's start with, for example, Liverpool. And obviously, we already know, Steve, that you support Liverpool. So we're going to start with you, Podfather. We're going to say, what one position do Liverpool need in January, and which realistic, if you can think off the top of your head, player is out there that they could go for in a transfer alone?
Well, I think it's a tough one because it's between two positions for me. So it's either I think they need three positions, but in terms of the ones that are most crucial, I'd say two. So it'd be a DM. Mm-hmm. Some sort of like top class DM if they can find, because I think that would also free McAllister. Like, I feel like we've not seen that McAllister that was at Brighton yet, because he's had to play that DM role. So you're not really getting the best of, like, I think he's got like 10 goals last year. Yeah, for midfield, which are great numbers or whatever. We're not really seeing that in a Liverpool shirt. And I would say a defender, because I think they're one Konate injury away from Van Dijk and that young boy for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
especially with the Matip injury and stuff. But yeah, and especially because Konate has shown that he's injury prone to a certain extent. Like, I think the guy's probably played like half a season at most since he's been here. So yeah, those two positions for me, I would say centre back and DM.
Okay. What about you, obviously? Which player? And can you think of any players or no?
Players, I'll say that Paulina guy at Fulham. I think he's excellent. I think any of us would be happy with him. You probably don't need him, but at Chelsea, I take him. I think he's a very good defensive midfielder. In terms of centre backs, there are loads out there, loads of good young ones or whatever. Because really, you want somebody who's just going to come and be backup. And if one of the major guys gets injured, like, you already have 2 stars, so you only need somebody to come in and just somebody who's like fit and reliable for the rest of the season. They can do good to decent job.
Okay. And what about you, Steve? Who would you pick? What position and what players, if you could think of, for Liverpool?
Defender, as I said earlier. First, the one I can think of that we're realistically we have a realistic chance is whether we want to spend that money is Iheanacho from is it Benfica or Sporting?
I thought we said Iheanacho. I thought you meant Leicester. Striker.
That's his name, Iheanacho.
Yeah, Ignacio, somewhere like
yeah. He would be. Yeah, he would be ideal. Somebody I've looked at I watched a little bit of him on obviously on YouTube. Read reports on the website. Seen his stats. He's a good age. Yeah, looks capable physically, and a good eye for a goal, quick and strong. So he'd be somebody who Liverpool are already looking at. It's more of a question of, are they going to go in this window or wait until the summer? My fear is if you wait till the summer, his price is going to go up. I think they're looking in the region of maybe 35, 40 million now. But I think in the summer, if he has a good second half of the season, his value is going to go up. So
you think a defender is more pressing than a midfielder then?
Yeah, his midfield will be second, but the defender, because Konate will get injured. It's not a matter of Konate will get injured. And then you're stuck with Van Dijk and Kwanzaa. That's not going to carry us through, not even the title, but even top four. We need a defender. If we can show up defense, we'll get goals. So Konate, it's not a case of where if Konate will get injured. he will get injured. So we need with massive help for the season, we need another defender. We definitely do.
But you think that DM role, like if you don't sort it, do you think that what you've got enough is enough to, or could cost you the title in the end, basically? Well, if you're playing Endo and McAllister there, is that going to be enough? Like when you're going to, let's say you're going into 3-4 competitions come towards the end of the season or whatever, and it's game after game after game. Are those guys going to really be able to stand up to the test? Yeah.
For the first half of the season, they've done all right. I mean, nobody would imagine Liverpool top in the league. And Endo, although he's done well. I wouldn't say a lot of praise has been given to him, and I think he can deserve a bit of praise. But I think maybe they're getting carried away. He's not been excellent or brilliant, but he's done well. He's done a job well. He comes back from the Asia Cup, hopefully not injured. Then we'll see for the first time this season, Endo in the position with McAllister playing further forward. We've not had that. They've not played together. Endo's been in when McAllister's been injured, and McAllister was playing when Endo was sub. Now Endo's proved himself that he can adapt and play well enough to hold his place. McAllister will come forward. And the backup we've got in midfield, obviously, we were just talking about Curtis Jones playing, out of his skin recently. Gravenberch has shown signs, flashes here and there. Elliott has shown flashes, signs here and there. And of course, Szoboszlai, who's out for another week or two, has been good, but tailed off. So there's enough in midfield for me. And that's why we haven't been maybe punished enough by other teams, because we can regenerate it. We can actually freshen it up, take 2 players out, put 2 players in. Defensively, though, we don't have that option. Right now, Van Dijk's going to play every game to the end of the season. Every Premier League game, every major cup game, there's no ifs. Van Dijk will have to play that for every game of the season. Konate will get injured, so Kwanzaa's going to have to play some games. Gomez is not a centre back. He's doing all right at left back. He's covering okay, but he's not a centre back.
Yeah.
How good is this Kwanzaa guy potentially?
He's shown good signs. Yeah, I like what I've seen, but I've seen enough signs that we definitely will keep him. And if he progresses, yes, he can progress into, again, what the press are like, they're overhyping him, saying he's the next Van. No, he's not the next Van Dijk. No, but he's doing a very, very good job. He's overachieving. If he can keep that consistency going, then he can fall us all wrong and become a really, really good centre back. But I do like the look of him so far. I've got to say I like the look of him.
What I would say, I also agree with you guys. DM, also centre back. The guys that I'd be looking at is, if I'm Liverpool, I'm assessing the situation. I don't want to spend tons of money in January unless I know I'm getting guaranteed thing. I'd be a bit cheeky as a centre back. I'd go over to Saudi Arabia and I'd ask them if they want Laporte on loan. Ask him if he's happy there. I tried to get him on loan. He's left-footed. He plays. He's tall. He's big. He knows the Premier League. Yeah. He can do a job. Because I think a lot of those guys in Saudi Arabia are unhappy. Some of them are really happy. That are happy, but some of them are unhappy.
No, I get it. I think the majority of them are not happy. They're getting the money, but they're
it's tough because I don't know if the clubs are going to release.
I know. That's why I'd ask for a loan, because the loan will put his face out there. People know, and then you go back. And then obviously defensive midfielder, the player I really like Douglas Luiz. I think he can defend, he can attack, he can score goals, which he's been doing recently. I just don't. If Aston Villa were 10th, I think they would sell him. But because they're so far up the table and they really believe they can get Champions League, and to be fair, he probably can. He's not. They wouldn't sell him if they got a big bid. But I think he'd suit Liverpool's game perfectly. I think he passes well enough. He's quite tidy on the ball. I can see why he wanted him. But then outside of that, I would look at 2 players. There's 2 players that I want, for Liverpool, that would make sense to me. Either you go to Saudi Arabia. Obviously, Ruben Neves said he doesn't want to join Newcastle. So if I'm Liverpool, I'm like, you join us, you do it right, you'll be playing for us next year, yeah. And he can do everything that you need in DM when he's on form, if he's the same player. And I really believe, and I don't know why nobody else is going for him, but I really believe Tchouaméni is available at Real Madrid. He doesn't play that much as people think he does. He's riding the bench. A lot of Real Madrid fans don't like him as much as they think they should. I think he 100% would be desperate to leave on loan because of the Euros coming up in the summer. He'd be desperate to get first team football. And if I was Liverpool, I'd be dying to just lie to Madrid. Oh, we'll pay 90 mil for him at the end of the season. We'll give you whatever you want. Just give him on loan.
Tuchel's got some. Well, again, the rumors are he's got some sort of attitude problem, and he's got a bit of injury problems. He's been up and down.
I think he walks into that Liverpool team. If he comes into the Liverpool team, what that says to McAllister and someone says, bro, don't come back. Just stay over there. Like, stay up there, stay up front. They don't need to defend with him in the team.
I've not seen enough of him to say that he's not a Makelele or Kante yet. He's not there.
No, but he's good, man. He's solid.
He's good. I do like him. I do. I prefer Camavinga. I will take him.
No, I just don't. I don't. He's been injured this season, but I don't. Listen. My favorite player there is Camavinga. It's Camavinga. Valverde. They have a bit more about him, but Tchouaméni's DM. But Camavinga, they're not selling under no circumstance.
I know.
That guy plays left back. That guy can play midfield. That guy can play DM, attacking. He's so versatile to his game. He's not going anywhere. They wouldn't get rid of him. You know, Ancelotti loves him. Madrid, they love it. They're not selling him. He's not going anywhere.
I think I hear what you're saying, but it's hard to loan 100 million player, man. Yeah, I mean they pay 90 million for everything. Yeah, I mean they're not loaning them, mate. You know, because it will look, you know, like there's no benefit to them. They'd rather keep them part of their squad. They get a couple of injuries.
Yeah, offer them Endo. Offer Endo, innit? So you guys can.
No. There's nothing in it. There's nothing in it for Madrid, man. Yeah, I mean, and in terms of that France squad, he's going regardless because they don't have that many players. Yeah, I'm saying to play in that position, so he's going.
It's a weird one because there are players out there, but this January window is just. It's just not. It's not the window. Where
that's the thing. I think you have to have been scouting them for time. Yeah, you don't just start now. And two, it's just tweaks. You're not really looking for like major, or like a major addition. Yeah, especially with Liverpool because things are going well. You don't want to bring in guys for the sake of it and upset the whole dynamic of the club or whatever. Yeah, so you just need one or two guys. Yeah, I mean, is there a possibility that Konate stays fit for majority of the rest of the season? Yeah. I mean, I think there is. You might get